Disaster. Alberta ignored. Danielle Smith furious as Pierre fact-checks CTV live. /humanize/ Disaster. Alberta ignored. Danielle Smith furious as Pierre fact-checks CTV live. The headline itself captures the emotional drama unfolding on Canada's political stage. It is a story of frustration, fury, and the feeling of being abandoned at a time when Alberta, already dealing with fire, drought, and economic strain, needed empathy more than confrontation. The clash between Danielle Smith and Pierre Poilievre on live television became a symbol of the tension running through Canada today, where truth and empathy wrestle for space in politics. Canada is in the grip of multiple crises. The prairies, particularly Alberta, continue to suffer the devastation of wildfires that have consumed massive swaths of land, forcing evacuations and shrouding communities in smoke. At the same time, drought is spreading across farmlands, with more than two-thirds of Canada's agricultural zones now parched, leaving farmers desperate for rain and worried about lost harvests. These are not abstract problems, but daily realities shaping the lives of families who see their livelihoods drying up or going up in flames. For them, being ignored by Ottawa feels less like neglect and more like betrayal. Economically, the nation is also under enormous pressure. Canada's GDP recently took a hit, contracting as exports collapsed under the weight of trade disputes and tariffs that have soured relations with the United States. For Alberta, where energy and resource exports drive prosperity, this downturn is not a statistic, but a direct hit on jobs, local businesses, and household budgets. Families already stretched thin by high grocery bills and rent now see the very industries that sustain their communities put at risk by international decisions made far from their homes. It is no wonder that frustration boils over when Alberta feels invisible in national debates. Prime Minister Mark Carney, facing both international and domestic storms, has attempted to cool tensions by easing retaliatory tariffs on certain American goods, hoping to rebuild dialogue with President Trump and calm the economic waters. But this balancing act has drawn mixed reactions. For some, it is pragmatic leadership designed to keep inflation under control and prevent another round of price shocks. For others, especially in regions like Alberta that bear the brunt of these trade battles, it looks like weakness and retreat. The divide reflects a deeper truth. National strategies often clash with regional realities, leaving provinces feeling forgotten. Beyond trade, social stressors add more weight to the picture. Canada has seen a decline in the number of international students and foreign workers, groups that once played vital roles in filling labor gaps and energizing universities. This decline means fewer skilled hands for struggling industries and less cultural vibrancy in cities that rely on international talent. For Alberta, where energy, construction, and agriculture depend heavily on available labor, the shortfall threatens to worsen the economic strain already caused by fires and drought. In this context, Danielle Smith's anger is more than rhetoric. It reflects a fear that Alberta will be left to fend for itself. The healthcare system, too, remains stretched, showing the human cost of long-standing structural weaknesses. Emergency rooms are crowded, wait times drag on, and frontline workers struggle to meet the rising demand. The federal government's recent multi-billion-dollar health agreements with the provinces and the rollout of the Canadian Dental Care Plan are steps toward easing these pressures, but for people in Alberta and elsewhere, change feels slow and uneven. When wildfires send hundreds to hospitals or smoke intensifies respiratory conditions, Albertans expect urgent support, not political back and forth. This tension between promise and delivery is the stage on which Danielle Smith erupted. It was during a heated exchange on CTV, broadcast live, that the clash took center stage. Danielle Smith accused Ottawa of ignoring Alberta's suffering and demanded recognition of the hardships her province was facing. Pierre Poilievre, aiming to hold his own image as a fact-driven leader, countered with a live fact-check, pointing out what he framed as inaccuracies in her claims. To the audience, it was a raw collision between fury and precision, empathy and accuracy. The spectacle revealed more than just two politicians sparring. It showed the depth of division and the struggle to balance truth with compassion. Danielle Smith's fury was not staged. Her frustration, visible in her tone and body language, was rooted in real grievances that many Albertans share. Years of feeling sidelined, of contributing more to the Federation than they receive back, of being told to transition away from oil and gas while the world still depends on their resources. These frustrations boiled over. Pierre's correction may have been factually sound, but it struck a nerve, because in moments of deep pain, people crave acknowledgement before analysis. For many Albertans watching, Smith's anger mirrored their own. Yet Pierre's fact-check carried weight too. Facts matter in politics, and misleading statements, even those born of passion, can distort the debate. His calm but firm correction reinforced his brand as a leader who won't let rhetoric override reality. But it also risked appearing cold at a moment when empathy was needed. The challenge for any leader is to strike the balance, correcting the record without dismissing the pain behind the words. That delicate dance is one reason this CTV exchange made such waves across Canada. This episode underscores a larger dilemma facing the country. How can leaders respond to crises with both factual clarity and human compassion? Alberta's fires, droughts, and economic pain are not partisan talking points, but lived realities. When people feel ignored, their voices rise in anger, demanding to be heard. Fact-checking without empathy feels dismissive. Empathy without accuracy risks false hope. Canadians want both, leaders who tell the truth while also validating the struggles people endure. The anger from Alberta is not isolated. Across the country, families are feeling squeezed by inflation, job insecurity, and climate-related disasters. Trust in political institutions wavers when communities believe they are invisible to decision-makers. The clash between Danielle Smith and Pierre Poilievre symbolizes more than a personal conflict. It is the embodiment of a national struggle to balance unity and diversity, facts and feelings, East and West. This is Canada's ongoing test to humanize politics in the face of division. /humanize/ Disaster. Alberta ignored. Danielle Smith furious as Pierre fact-checks CTV Live. The story is not about a soundbite, but about the future of how Canada governs itself in times of stress. Prime Minister Carney's government must navigate tariffs, health reforms, and regional grievances. Opposition leaders like Pierre Poilievre must weigh fact against empathy, while premiers like Danielle Smith push back against what they see as neglect. In the end, politics must serve people, not just policies. Canada's path forward will depend on leaders' ability to hold onto truth while never losing sight of humanity.